High school students are seen at the start of the film. They were going for a school trip to Columbia University. A boy is shown in the bus whose name is Peter. Peter is the leading character of this story, and he is very unfashionable boy. He is interested in his classmate named Mary, and he also wants to befriend her, but Mary's friends tease Peter because of their large numbering. It is known here that Peter had only one friend, named Harry. He is an aristocratic boy and his father is the scientist of the Columbia University. On the other side, Peter is orphan. He resides with his uncle and aunt. Different categories of the spiders are shown to them in the genetic lab of university. They are also told about the characteristics of the spiders. Peter also takes the photos of Mary, whom he wanted to befriend. Meanwhile, a particular spider bites him. At that time, that spider had lost in that genetic lab. Afterwards, it is seen that Peter returns home back where his condition had started to worsen. Peter lies down in unconsciousness. It is observed here that physique and mentality had started to alter. His DNA had evolved the new genes. It indicated that he has not been a human being but has transformed into a superhuman. After this, the father of Peter's friend Harry is seen, who was the great scientist, and he was building a weapon for military force. He takes himself as a subject to conduct that experiment, but that experiment is failed because it was imbalanced. Then they conduct one more experiment on himself to make this weapon balanced, through which he has gone insane. He cannot hold a control on his body in this insanity, and he kills his helper. Next morning, Peter is again seen. Some new powers had developed in him, as eyesight glasses were not needed to watch by him, and his physical appearance had also transformed into muscular one. It referred that many powers had developed in him, and he helps Mary from falling down in the school using his powers. And he also catches her food. Mary is very impressed from Peter. Afterwards, when Peter had started to take lunch, then he notices some webs releasing from his hand. Peter was trying to release the webs from his hands. Peter's is also dropped on the wicked boys. During this struggle, all people had started to laugh at him. Seeing this, Peter was going from there. Standing up, that tray was being dragged behind it, attaching with its shirt cuff. Seeing it, all are surprised. Now some boys were coming to beat Peter. Peter's one more power appears here. Peter's sixth sense had sharpened more. He may detect the danger in his surroundings easily. Otherwise, his other powers had also enhanced, so he defeats the boys easily. When he is returning to the house, then he feels that he can crawl. Sticking with any surface, he could crawl on the wall like the spiders. When Peter had known that he has multi-powers, he decides to participate in wrestling match, through which he could win a lot of money. Before it, Peter designs a Spider-Man suit for him. Next morning, when he is going for the wrestling, then it is revealed that his uncle and aunt have also known about that something has happened to Peter. His uncle makes him feel the importance of his responsibilities. Sitting in a car, he says, with great power comes great responsibility. After this, Peter's uncle drops Peter to the location. He easily confronts the muscular wrestler, because he had also the superpowers. In this way, he wins the wrestling match, but the wrestling supporter deceives him. It means he does not award him money. Meanwhile, a thief appears to that wrestling supporter and flees, grabbing all his money. That man says to Peter, "Why did you not catch that thief?" Peter says that you reaped what you sowed while deceiving me. Afterwards, he comes out of the building and observes a crowd. He is left dejected and sad, reaching there because the robber had killed Peter's uncle to grab his car. In this way, Peter's uncle had also not left to him. Then Peter chases that thief using his intuition and power. He was hitting the thief, but thief himself is slipped and he has died falling from the window. Later, Peter goes to his aunt, who was the last support in his life, and they both were heartily dejected for Peter's uncle. After it, Harry's father is seen, who was a scientist who had gone insane completely. That scientist had lost the control on himself as being mad, and he had come to end all those who had criticized his invention. Here he steps into his invented machine, which had a metallic suit and glider, and he ruins the experiment of Oscorp's corporate rival, and he kills all who were involved in making this military equipment. It is felt here that he is the main antagonist of the movie. After this, it is observed that Peter's education in school is completed. Now coming to house, he remembers all words of his uncle he had said with great powers come great responsibilities. Then Peter had gone to eradicate the evil wearing his Spider-Man costume. If there was happening evil and bad in any corner of the world, visions used to appear in Spider-Man's mind using his sixth sense. Then he leaves to end the evil from that place. Then it is observed that Spider-Man has renowned with the passage of time. He used to go at any place with the use of his superpowers while flying and running. People were exaggerating stories about him. Some people used to think as he is a superhuman, some thought that he is giant spider. After this it is seen that Peter serves for a job as he used to provide the photos for a newspaper. It was Peter himself who was providing his clear photos to them. The editor of that newspaper had not liking for Spider-Man at all, but he was also ignorant about this. As Peter is Spider-Man, he used to pay a good amount of money to Peter, because it was Peter who used to give the clear images, because it was very difficult to capture the photo of Spider-Man in the cameras of other photographers, because he was very speedy. Later scene shifts to Harry's father, who was a scientist and had gone mad. That scientist's company decides to dismiss him because this company was going down at loss because of him, so he becomes so aggressive. And he moves to a cultural festival in rage. It was the world's unity fair where he could bring much destruction easily. Peter had also joined this fair because he had to take the photos of this fair. Spider-Man also witnesses his friend Harry and Mary here. Meanwhile, he visualizes that something disastrous is going to occur here. Then scientist reaches here on his glider. He wanted to ruin all were gazing at him because he was at a distance, and they think that it is the new invention of the year which will be displayed in this fair. Then that scientist company member knows that it is their glider. All were staring at him along with the Spider-Man. Then he comes near them and he throws a bomb in a building. As a result, that building is destroyed. All people begin to fall down. There is commotion everywhere. Spider-Man was observing it keenly as he notices that a part of a building is going to fall on the two people, so he pulls them backward with the help of his web. Peter immediately turns himself into a Spider-Man, taking off his dress here. Peter's both friends Harry and Mary were also in a great difficulty. Meantime, scientist comes to his company members and he throws one more detonator through which those people are turned into ashes before changing into skeletons. And Harry, who was coming to rescue Mary, all of a sudden one part of the building also falls on him and he is knocked out. While that mad scientist had come to Mary, then all noticed the Spider-Man there and he had begun to help everyone, pushing scientist aside as Spider-Man comes to that scientist rescuing a child. That scientist falls him away with one attack. Then he was wanting to kill the Spider-Man while attacking him constantly. That Spider-Man suddenly lifts up. Now that scientist on that glider was also after him. A great fight is held between Spider-Man and that scientist as Spider-Man comes to rescue Mary. Then the glider was also after him. Spider-Man makes his eyes close while releasing his web on him. Consequently, he cannot see anything and he rescues Mary, deforming his glider. That scientist moves away while saying to the Spider-Man, "See you soon." Mary asks Spider-Man, "Who are you?" The Spider-Man replies, "I am your friend and you also know about me." Mary asks who. The Spider-Man tells, "Your dearest friend Spider-Man." Afterwards it is seen that scientist comes to the Spider-Man and he offers him that we can rule over the world if we are united, being a good person. Spider-Man refuses him. Peter only wanted to save this world. Later it is witnessed that scientist sets a building on fire where Spider-Man comes to rescue everyone. Now that scientist had started to launch one more bomb when Spider-Man comes to stop the scientist. Then he receives a scar on his hand by scientist's attack. After this they all as Peter and his friends are seen at dinner party. It was at Peter's house. No one had still knowledge that scientist has gone mad. All prevailing destruction throughout the city is being manipulated by him, but that scientist gets the knowledge that Peter is Spider-Man because Spider-Man's received scar in a battle before. A moment there was the same scar on the hand of Peter. Seeing it, he leaves that place after being worried when scientist had known that Peter is the Spider-Man, so he attacks Peter's aunt. In rage going there, Peter's aunt is hospitalized because of that attack. Now Peter's friend comes here to meet him and his aunt. When Peter and Mary were talking, then Harry thinks as they both like each other. Being dejected, he returns from there because he had also affections for Mary. He shares it with his father coming there. Due to this, Harry father or scientist knows one more weak point of Peter. He instantly abducts Mary going on his glider. Scientist plans a trap for the Spider-Man here. He catches Mary at one side while the swing of kids on the other side and he stands on a bridge. If Spider-Man rescues kids here, then Mary will lose her life in case kids were died if he rescues Mary. Seeing the Spider-Man scientist leaves both Mary and kids island trolley here, Spider-Man quickly runs. At first he rescues Mary, later he also catches the swing of the kids, but the Spider-Man's web which he had linked with Bridget is weakened and Mary and that swing both lose their grips. In his hand he catches that trolley showing his speed, and Mary hangs with that aerial tramway and he leaves it on the rescue ship as it reaches here, so all kids are rescued. Now scientist attacks Spider-Man violently here, so he falls away moving far from here, and scientist also explodes a bomb on Peter with it. Now the powers of Spider-Man had reduced, he was not getting courage to fight with anyone. That glider man had started to hit it badly. Reaching here there is a great fight, which is held between Spider-Man and that scientist. Spider-Man also releases his webs, but he was continuously facing defeat because of the low energy. At last that scientist was nearly to kill him. Meanwhile Spider-Man restores his all powers. He falls a big wall on him with the help of his webs, pushing the scientist away, but that scientist does not die yet, and it was the turn of the Spider-Man who has been beaten by the scientist from a time now. Spider-Man teaches him a lesson. When Spider-Man was nearly to kill him here, scientist takes off his Green Goblin mask. He was saying to the Spider-Man, "Now don't kill me. It was the ambition of this invention which controlled my mind," but his words were based on lies, because he was going to attack Spider-Man from the backside. Peter lifts up quickly, visualizing something. Scientist's own glider kills him. Afterwards Spider-Man leaves scientist's body at Harry's house. In the end it is seen that Peter was at the grave of his uncle in sad condition, and Mary expresses her love to him coming there, and the movie completes on this